Hey guys, welcome back to these weekly videos. Okay, so just to be honest, this is the most ready I've gotten since last week. So I haven't left my house if you count driving, but I haven't left my house in like 11 days, besides just like going for drives and stuff like that. Anyways, I hope everyone is doing well. And in this video for today, I kind of just wanted to share just a bunch of thoughts that I've had throughout quarantine. Hopefully some people can relate to it. They can hopefully find it like thought-provoking, helpful in some way, comforting in some way, interesting in some way. Basically, I guess the first and main epiphany or revelation that I had, and this is just me speaking from like my experiences. You might not be able to relate to every single thing that I say, but hopefully something. Basically, I came back from vacation about a week and a half ago. Before I went on vacation, I felt a little bit sad to go on vacation because I felt like I'm pretty happy, pretty content in the life that I have, even though things are not perfect, but kind of just like having a peace that they are going to work out and all that type of stuff. So I was really excited when I got back from vacation to get back to my normal lifestyle. And then obviously I came back on March the 13th, and that's when everything went down, quarantine happened, and so basically one by one, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, one by one, things just started being like taken away from me. So it's like all the jobs and events that I had were just canceled one by one. And then I'm like, okay, that's fine, because here's the thing. We may not have seen this coming, but God sees the beginning from the end, or the end from the beginning. He sees everything. So this is no surprise for him. Man makes plans and God laughs. So that's just kind of how I feel when these things happen. I'm like, you know what? In another way, the funds will be made up. So it's okay. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then the next thing was like, and I was like, hey, I can still do photo shoots. I can still have fun in the studio, whatever. And then the company that I work with, that was canceled as well. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. I can still, I have dance class I can go to, canceled. Okay, well, I love the gym that I go to. It's like my little oasis. I can do classes there, and then canceled. So it was like one by one, things were canceled, obviously, as the seriousness of this increased, and things were just slowly or quickly closing. Then the last thing that was taken from me, which I did not expect to be taken from me, so I never get sick, but basically for the past, I don't even know how many days, like 10 days, basically, I've been feeling uneasy, like really weird sickness. Like, I don't even know if it's a sickness, but just completely exhausted. And I'm just coming out of it. But basically, it'll kind of go back and forth. I'll feel okay, and then I'm completely exhausted again, and all these types of things. Anyway, so I'm not seeking advice for how I'm feeling. I am just sharing that. So anyways, that was for me, what felt like the last thing that was taken from me, which was really hard, because I'm like, okay, I'm the type of person where I do not get bored. I will be put in quarantine and it's like, okay, blessed, I get to read, I get to spend time with God, I get to do home workouts, I'm gonna run outside, like I'm gonna go for drives. I love all of these things. But because I felt so lethargic, I felt so unmotivated. Again, I'm still coming out of that right now. So it was hard for me to film last week, but also I haven't been able to work out. A few days ago, I was sitting in my car just because I needed to get out of my house. So I was sitting in my car and writing, and then what really came to me was like, yeah, I am happy with the life that I have. I'm happy with the life I've been gifted and that I've built and all these types of things. But what is it that makes me so happy? And I was just thinking about, even though the things in my life, like I like to work events out, I like to do photo shoots, and I like to film, and I like to create, and I like to just for fun, like dance and work out. I love working out, and I love doing all these things, and I love going for coffees with my friends, and I love coaching. And what I realized, what was spoken to me, was that those are still things that I am idolizing. And what I heard recently, I think just after that, was that like right now, whatever can be shaken will be shaken. So this was like a prophetic thing that someone was feeling, that God was saying, whatever can be shaken will be shaken. Whatever idols are in our lives, they will be shaken, and they can be shaken, and they have been shaken. And so for me, that's what happened. Everything was removed. It's like, how can I claim to say, yeah, I just have a peace and I have a happiness about my life, but it's because A, B, C. It's because I have these certain things. And at the end of the day, that's me being happy because of circumstances. So it's like, what if those things were taken away from me, which they have been temporarily taken away from me? Now what? Is my worth gone? Was that my identity? And am I any less valuable? So I think these are good questions for ourselves, as difficult as it is. And I know it's really difficult, especially if you're not used to like hearing faith talk and things like that, which I understand, because I have a variety of people that can be watching this video. Some people that are super into faith, some people that are absolutely not into faith. But what I realized is that the one thing that is important is my relationship with God, and how much he loves me, and I'm not special in this circumstance. God loves everyone equally. But it's an individual relationship. And for me to say like, that has to be enough. That has to be enough on its own. To think like, oh, I can't wait to get out of this quarantine. I can't wait to go back to my normal life. I can't wait to go back to A, B, C. Yeah, but like, so if these things in life are taken from us and suddenly we don't have identity, we don't have purpose, we can't find peace, or we can't find happiness, then doesn't that kind of say something? Again, it's important to have these things, but not as idols, not things that are like the make or break. Because we can so easily say, so many of us can say, yeah, I don't put my happiness in my career, I don't put my identity in my job. But yet when they're shaken and they're taken from us, then it really makes you second guess, like, was I putting all of my value in those things? So anyways, that was the biggest epiphany that I had. And then some other things I really wanted to quickly share is about feeling like comparing quarantine lives, because as much as on social media we would compare our lives and our careers and our relationships and our clothes and our bodies and everything like that to other people, now it's like almost, I don't know if some people have felt this, but I feel almost like people comparing quarantine lives, because you'll see celebrities who live in mansions in quarantine and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish that was what I was, dealing with. Or single people will see married people or people in relationships and think like, I think that. I think, oh, my life would be so much easier if I was married in quarantine. But the thing is that, actually, I'll get back to that in a second. Or, I'll see someone who has a child and think, oh, like they're having so much fun playing in the field and playing all these games and doing all these activities in quarantine. Or someone who lives in a hot destination and they have a pool in their backyard and they're just outside swimming and chilling. And we look at those and it's like you can very easily compare your quarantine life to someone else's quarantine life. But what we don't know, because again, the grass is always greener on the other side, what we don't know is what people are dealing, that people have challenges that they're not posting about, and challenges within those circumstances. So imagine, like, there are a lot of married couples or partners in general who are struggling right now because they're in such close quarters to each other, or really struggling keeping their children entertained, or really struggling because they need to go back to work and they don't have a babysitter for their children. And we just have no idea what other people are actually going through, because once again, yes, some people are posting their emotions and their struggles regarding quarantine, but a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are posting different things that makes us look at what they're doing and think they're having such a great time, they're so peaceful, and they're, I think that everyone to some degree is struggling with this. So that's just to keep that in mind. And then the third thing that I wanted to quickly talk about is focusing our eyes outwards and upwards and not inwards, because we are, again, I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, we are just like a culture and society that focuses on self-serving, right? So how is this going to benefit me, as opposed to looking at other people's needs? And right now there are people who their income or their jobs were not affected by this, and maybe they have money to give, to donate to food banks or to donate to other people. Or there are people who just have a lot of time right now and they can give free things, like we're seeing free classes. Or there are people that can just help you by bringing uplifting words and stuff like that. There are ways that we can help other people. And I think that that's the most important. And Actually, there is a quote here, but even if I am weak, I can still be kind, for true power is in giving instead of taking. And I know that sounds really cliche to focus on giving, but it's true. There are people that were not affected in different ways, like whether financially or whatever it is, that they were not as affected, and they can help other people. And then the last thing that I wanted to share is, I guess, just like some comfort in general. A post that I saw about shifting your mindset while in quarantine, instead of feeling like you are stuck inside of your home, realizing that if you have a home, and you have internet and you're able to watch this, like, you are so blessed, because that means you're safe in your home. I just think there's so much fear mongering that's going on, and it is important to know what's going on in the world, but living and breathing the news right now. Yes, you can see what the updates are, but living and breathing it, it's no matter what, we are a product of what we are consuming. And that is just going to add more fear and anxiety and panic, instead of saying, hey, like, I'm safe at home. As long as we are taking the precautions and we're listening to the protocols and everything like that, I really do believe that we are going to be okay and we're going to be safe. And that this will be worked out for good, and this too shall pass, and all of these things. But it's really like not adding to other people's fear, not adding to your own fear by what you're consuming, and knowing that during this time, this is all for a purpose, that we are going to come out of this on the other side stronger people. And I saw a quote just saying, the sad thing, what would be really sad, is if we came out of this people unchanged. This is just, again, I know I said this in a video last week, but this really is an opportunity for us to become still, and to really reflect inwardly. And of course, we're going to want to keep ourselves entertained in certain ways. But like, kind of what I'm trying to do is just step back a little bit from the entertainment and from the distractions, because if I'm going to be constantly like watching movies and constantly on FaceTime with my friends and constant, then I'm missing out from, I am missing the whole point of being still, and about getting revelations, getting epiphanies, having clarity about relationships, about career, about future, about why we're here in the first place. So I really, really am believing that we are going to be okay, as long as we follow these protocols and just keep the faith. And I am praying for you guys as well. And then I'll be back on Instagram as I always am. So I will see you guys next week and in between. Bye.